Ready? And they're off. Racing away in the 2025 running of the Group 1 Tattersalls Falmouth Stakes. Elwitine towards the right-hand side broke out well. She's just out in front at what looks a pretty steady gallop. In the green, though, Running Line now moving through to pick up the work. Running Line from Elwitine at Sealer. Blue with the white diamonds is handy in third. Then in the yellow, last year's 1,000 guineas winner El Malka. A length then better than Cinderella's Dream in the royal blue. January is next in those purple and white silks. Second from the back is Crimson Advocate, and Lady Ilsa, the German raider, is at the rear of the field. It is Running Line and Asheen Murphy who show in front by a length and a half to Elwitine in second. At Sealer is back in third. El Malka is in fourth, and then came Cinderella's Dream in January, waiting in behind the principals, and then came Crimson Advocate, and Lady Ilsa remains in the final position. They've gone through halfway. Running Line to a length call from At Sealer in second. Elwitine to the far side. Then came near side at El Malka. January now moving out with the purpose, purple and white, as they make their way down towards the final quarter of a mile. Running Line headed by El Malka and At Sealer. January poised to strike near side. Far side Cinderella's Dream trying to move up into it, and so too Crimson Advocate to the right-hand side as they head now down towards the final furlong. It's January. January near side by a length or so to Cinderella's Dream. Crimson Advocate the far side still with a squeak as well. They're running toward the final half a furlong. Cinderella's Dream has grabbed it from January, then Crimson Advocate. Cinderella's Dream in January. Cinderella's Dream's won the Falmouth from January in second. Then in third, Crimson Advocate, followed by El Malka, Lady Ilsa and At Sealer.
Godolphin's first Falmouth, a first for Charlie Appleby, a second for William Buick after the controversial elusive Kate in 2013. Nothing controversial about this. Cinderella's Dream is the best, and she wins this Group 1 Falmouth Stakes, and she defeats the Ballydoyle trained 3-year-old January by about half a length. A couple back to Crimson Advocate, who had beaten the winner at Royal Ascot. She's run creditably again in third, but Cinderella's Dream, 5-2 second favourite, wins the Group 1 Tattersalls Falmouth Stakes and a first in this race for Godolphin. And what a weekend this is turning out to be for William Buick, and that is all ahead of notable speech, the heavy favourite in tomorrow's Al Basti Dubai July Cup.
2004, you missed it out, Nick. But tough performance.
I stopped.
Tough performance, wasn't it, from Cinderella's Dream? And she's such a consistent mare. This is her back on her game today. She's travelled well, but she's had to fight for it, and I think that battle has suited her. The fact that they got racing a good way out, and that's probably suited her, and she was a little bit handier today as well, wasn't she, tracking the pace rather than held up like she was at Ascot. For much of the race you thought January was a looming presence, and she's run a blinder. It's hard to see on the angle, isn't it, whether she was in front. Alan called that she was in commentary, but Cinderella's Dream, as it came down to a head-to-head late on near side, she's battled out well, and she's got a fantastic attitude, and you only have to read her form figures to see how genuine and consistent she is.
Yeah, and she is a strong staying miler too, and William Buick did well to get her anchored because she was plenty keen enough early, as everyone looked at each other wondering who was going to go on. In the end, the answer was, as predicted, Asheen Murphy on Running Line, but not breakneck early. They quickened through the mid part of the race.
And he just wanted to sit a spot further forward. He still wanted to be behind horses and get her covered up to allow her to settle in behind in the middle of the pack, but just a spot further forward and a little bit closer to the pace than he was at Royal Ascot, and probably wanted to commit her a little bit sooner and bring that. Obviously she's a filly that stays further, and he wanted to bring that into play to some extent with a slightly more forward ride.
It seemed as though from the sectionals that were popping up on our screen, though I'll let Tom and Sam go through it, that the mid part of this race was quite well run, having been steady early, and At Sealer and Elwitine and El Malka, although none of them obvious winners, have peeled away, having attempted to chase Running Lion, and Messrs Moore, Buick, Doyle have all chosen to play their cards a little later. Adri de Vries likewise on the German.
With the sectional times are just coming through now, and we've got the pace quickening really from through the fourth furlong, the fifth furlong, and then really quickening obviously as you'd expect into the dip. Now the finishing speed percentage I think is around 105%, which par would be around 100 here on the July course. So you know there was a little bit of an emphasis on speed the way the races unfolded, but they still got racing far enough out for this filly to grit her teeth and battle, and up the hill, she's seen her off, hasn't she? She's seen January off, and really good race between them. Crimson Advocate, just to touch on her, maybe a little bit of a disadvantage that she's been stuck on that wing with her challenge to some extent. She gets pushed out a little bit wider by Cinderella's Dream as she's making her challenge, but she was on terms with them for a long way. Maybe she just came up against a better version of Cinderella's Dream today on this different track.
Cinderella's Dream was very unlucky in last year's filly and mare turf at Del Mar. I'm sure they'll want to right that wrong this time. It would seem the obvious race for her, though I suppose they could run her in the mile, but they'd have other options for that, I think. The Crimson Advocate strikes me as a perfectly viable contender for a Breeders' Cup mile. That turning mile would suit her perfectly.
It would, and she'd need a little bit of luck, wouldn't she, the way that she's ridden, but it would be a very suitable race for her. And January has stepped forward again, and I think her best days are still ahead of her. She'll get a Group 1, I think, before the season's out, but she's still improving, and I think physically she's only going to get better as well as the season goes on.
Something like the Matron Stakes for January, do you think?
Perfect, I would have thought.
Chariot as well?
Yeah, and the rest of them, I think, have been exposed, to be honest, on the day. It's a race which the first two in the market have come to the fore. Crimson Advocate a little bit clear of the rest as well, and I think the rest of the fillies in the field just not quite good enough. So it's a result that makes a lot of sense.
But it is Williams World here at the July course. Cinderella's Dream did a lot of racing in North America last year. It's been great to see her here this season. You know, she's a top-notcher, and she should be winning Group 1s here, and the Nassau Stakes looks a possibility for her next as well, doesn't it?
She is very versatile. She's proven that, isn't she? The way that she's travelled, and she's gone over different distances, and she seems to be able to do anything you throw at her. The previous win at the top level was a Grade 1, wasn't it, in America? So good to see her do it on these shores.
Cinderella's Dream had to be really tenacious to win the Falmouth. It's a first Falmouth for Charlie Appleby and also for Godolphin, so that's a good milestone to have, and she did it really well.
Yeah, no, delighted. Lydia, as I said, we've spoken before, pre-race saying, what we felt about Ascot, and like I say, we made the usual excuses when you walk away after defeat that, there's turns and there's weight penalties and there's this on the ground, and I just, personally, after watching it, I felt that she might not have been quite 100% on song. We were happy, obviously, going in there. We wouldn't have ran her, but I just felt we were beat too far out at Ascot, And I know it's on a turn and it's a mile, but yeah, I just wasn't happy with the way she just travelled, or could have travelled into it. She didn't. Anyway, upshot was she came out of it fit and well, freshened her up, delighted. All the team at home done, as always, do a great job in giving us all the information to say that she's on track. Without them, I wouldn't know, without stating the obvious, where we really are sometimes with these horses. You need the riders and the grooms and the management to be able to say, yeah, she's ticking the boxes, and they've all done that for the last 10 days now, said that she's really back on song. And Jamie, who leads her up, he said that she's not felt like this since Saratoga, where he says she's dragging me around the paddock. So we went in with confidence, but also very mindful and respectful that there was fillies in there receiving a nice weight pull from us, who travelled very well into the race, and of course your eye was only drawn to one filly through the race after ours, and that was Aidan's filly, the way she travelled into it.
Yeah, absolutely. But then when Will angled towards her, I thought, hello, this is going to be a fight.
For sure. I think Will felt after the second race where the winner came a bit wide from us, he wants to make sure he had someone to fight with. But he just knows that filly. You put her next to one and she puts her ears back, and there's no one tougher out there than her that wants it. And once Aidan's filly hadn't picked up and gone away from us, I thought, right, there's a battle on, and if you're ever going to sort of go into the corner with one, you want her in your corner, because she won't give up. And like I say, we know she gets to 10, so as soon as she met the rising ground, she was going to see it out.
Which she absolutely did. You mentioned the 10. Are you tempted to take up the Nassau entry?
Look, we spoke about it this morning, actually, in the office, looking at sort of, again, getting to that time of year, we start looking towards EP Taylors and obviously working back from a Breeders' Cup fillies and mares, that I'm keen to get her there, hopefully in great shape, and try and take revenge on what I felt just got away from us last year.
That sounds like a no to me.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So she should take another run in, and she doesn't need to go. I mean, the reason I've campaigned her here, Lydia, this year in Europe is, first, I'd love to win a Group 1 with her, but I didn't want to do the travelling with her this year like we did last year to get to a Breeders' Cup. It's tough on those fillies, and I wanted to try and get her to the Breeders' Cup in the easiest route. So I haven't got to. It's not like I've got to take her there to gain any experience. She knows America better than all of us. So whether we I'd say we take a good view of the Nassau. To be brutally honest, yes is the answer.
Okay.
Well, long-winded, but we got there.
No, it's very, very informative. Congratulations on her second Group 1 success, and congratulations on your first to Palmer.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
Thank you.
Very kind, thanks.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.